Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Chris, aka Mr. Grow It, and you're tuned into my Garden Talk channel. Today I have a Q&A video for you, but I want to make a quick announcement. Stash Blend is now released. Stash Blend is a plant additive that was developed by the From the Stash team, and it has a whole bunch of good stuff in it. You can find out more at stashblend.com. Alright, let's get into the episode. Good day, got a question. My autoflowers Gorilla Cookies are starting to show white pistils. When do you recommend a change in nutrition? So yeah, autoflowers probably on the same light cycle, probably plan to be on the same light cycle for the entire grow, whether it be 18-6, 20-0, 24-0, whatever it may be. You're not really sure when to start feeding those flower nutrients. For me, I typically do it around day 30. You know what I mean? I'll make that transition day 30, 40 if I'm a little bit late with it. But yeah, that's usually when I'm starting to see pistils, and that's usually when I'm transitioning over to the flower nutrients. I'm sure it can vary from grower to grower. You probably hear a different answer from different people depending on who you ask. I'm sure there's some people that go 4, 5, 6 weeks in their using their veg newts, then flip to their flowering newts. You know, they're just seeing that transition of flower happening. But for me, around day 30, 40 is when I'm switching over to the flower nutrients. Are there any companies doing sales for Prime Day? Yeah. Shout out to Mars Hydro. They're actually sponsoring this Q&A episode. A Prime sale all month, apparently, up to 25% off. Yeah, you've seen me use their lights in the past. Let's click on this and see what they got. So they've got a bunch of featured deals here. FC series. Looks like they have the FCE series. They've got some grow tents. Yeah, a whole bunch of good things you can get and more. Looks like they have their TS series as well, UV and IR bars. So yeah, check out their Prime Day sale. I'll actually have a link to it in the YouTube description section below, and you can use my discount code Mr. Grow It. I'll get you an additional percentage off. What is good ways of adding humidity temporarily to a grow tent until your humidifier arrives? So waiting on that humidifier, huh? Man, I was in the same exact situation as you quite some time ago, and it's funny the creative things that you can think of to do. Search online, you'll find a whole bunch of stuff. But things that I have done is the wet towel method. So taking a bunch of towels, wetting them like crazy, and then hanging them in the grow tent. You know, as far as how much it helps, it's obviously going to depend on how much you're exhausting out of the grow space. If you're just exhausting 24/7, you could easily just rip that humidity right out. But yeah, common method people are using with wet towels, putting like containers that are filled with water into your grow tent, that kind of helps. But as far as how effective it'll be, really is dependent on kind of how much you're exhausting out of there, how wet the towels are, what your current humidity is, as far as how much it will actually increase. So there's lots of variables on that one, but those are a couple things I can think of off the top of my head. What did I miss? I know there's some of you guys out there that are doing that, just that, trying to add in the humidity, don't have a humidifier. Let us know down in the comment section below. I asked this once before, but do you notice any smell from the canitrol? If so, during what stage? I'm actually going to be doing a full Q&A video on the canitrol. Just really do a Q&A live stream like this where I'm just answering canitrol questions. Not sure when I have that scheduled, so definitely follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mr. Grow It, and then make sure notifications are on. And then once notifications are on, you can come in and ask questions about the canitrol. I will answer this one here for you right now, of course, almost immediately. I definitely did notice the smell, particularly when drying. Like I just put 2 plants in there. Well, I put 1 plant in there, filled everything up, and this was 6 days ago now. Filled everything up. Yeah, it immediately starts to smell for me. You know what I mean? Like you have the drip pan in the back, things are dripping out, and probably what's happened is that's just volatilizing. A lot of it's just volatilizing coming into the air. So definitely notice a smell. My girlfriend notices a smell. That's when it's the strongest, is during the dry period. Then when things are kind of stable, you don't really smell it as much. Like for example, I had the canitrol kind of right next to my door. And outside my door, there's a hallway. And the next door over is my girlfriend's office. And she said she smells it when she walks by. That's it. Just when she walks by, she'll smell it. And it was really only during the dry period. Now, me, I smell it because I'm sniffing for it, whenever I come into my office here. And I have it on the other part of my office, right behind me, actually. You can see it. And I'm drying and I do smell it. But as far as how strong, I wouldn't say it's like crazy strong to where like your neighbors are going to be notified, stuff like that. But like I mentioned, if you've got it next to a door into a hallway and you got people walking by, they'll probably sniff it out if they know what the smell is, of course. Or they'll just be like, And then just keep moving past the door. As far as just storage though, when I just have stuff in storage, it's not actually drying, I can't really tell. During that time, there's really nothing dripping in the back drip pan after the drying period anyways, so. But yeah, I have 2 plants drying in there right now. I let one dry for a few days. Then I was able to kind of consolidate it down into, and then make room for another plant that I had, smaller plant. So I got 2 plants in there right now, and things are going pretty good. Things have always went pretty good. So hands off, I love it. I've come to really despise trimming. Do you have any tips or know of any devices to help expedite the process? One thing I'm looking to get my hands on is a bowl trimmer. Now I know there's a lot of controversy behind the bowl trimmer. It seems like everybody that has a bowl trimmer that I know really enjoys it once they understand how to start using it. Pigeons 420, for example, I should give him a shout out. He is somebody who was skeptical about the bowl trimmer, ended up getting his hands on one and just absolutely loves it. And he gave some good tips in regards to using it as well, like more larfier type bud when you're putting it into that bowl trimmer. He says it doesn't work as well, so it needs to be kind of more dense, and you kind of get the hang of it. You know, it takes a little bit to kind of get used to. I can't wait to get my hands on one, to be honest with you, just to try it. But there are people on the other end that are just like, it's ripping off your trichomes, it's destroying your buds. So yeah, I mean, buy one at your own risk, I guess you could say. If you do buy one, you can use code MrGrowit15, specifically the AC Infinity one. I think they have a, I want to say 16-inch and a 19-inch. I could be wrong about that, but yeah, you get a little discount with my discount code. I need to get my hands on one though. That's one thing that, you know, from what Pigeons said, really speeds up the process. Could you recommend a cultivar that has a terp profile that can be contained in with the carbon filter? Much of the wide leaf cultivars have a very strong odor that is not scrubbed fully by filtration. Interesting. Which carbon filter are you using? That's one thing I'd want to ask. Also want to ask what size grow space you're in and what size carbon filter you have in that grow space, because that could certainly impact it, right? Airflow. Not all carbon filters are created equal. It's so hard to, you know, verify which ones are going to work better than others, of course. Maybe it's just the brand carbon filter you're using. Maybe, I don't know if you're using a cheaper brand or kind of a more, a brand known for quality. Could be the carbon filter, assuming it's not the carbon filter. Well, it must be. I mean, if it's escaping any sort of smell, something's wrong there with the carbon filter, because I've grown a large variety of cultivars, and as long as the carbon filter is hooked up properly, then it's always been working pretty good for me. Tricky question. I don't really know how else to answer that, to be honest with you. There's so much that's going to vary whether or not it smells during the flowering period, right? Higher the temp, more terpenes are going to volatilize, right? So if you're lowering the temp, you're not going to have as many terpenes volatilizing. So if you're worried about smell, that might be something you want to do. Maybe run like a temp, 75, 78 degrees throughout the grow instead of kind of going up into the low 80s. In theory, you should have less terpenes volatilizing. You should have less smell. But tough question. Yeah, interesting question. Wish I had a better answer for you. 0 to 100%. How far would you say you are towards completing your book? 65%. Yeah, I've got, I would say a majority of the sections written, chapters written. And I'm actually kind of going back and scrubbing some of the first chapters that I've written every day. I'm just writing, trying to get this book going. Things are looking pretty good though. I'm kind of timeline. I hate saying timelines because, if I miss, then all of a sudden you got those people reaching out to you and like, hey, you missed your timeline. But within the next 2 months, I want it completely written. September 1st, I want to be on to the next stages, which is book design. Obviously, like the editing, have it, send it over to an editor to review, proofread. Then it goes the actual design. I'll actually be collecting photographies from you guys to see if anybody wants to get their photography featured in my book. So keep an eye out for that one. On social, I'll definitely make just a ton of announcements. I did that last time, and the submissions, it was so fun seeing all the submissions of you guys. And yeah, I'm excited to see some new photography that you guys submit in. But yeah, about 65%, I'd say so far, and hope to have it 100% written and onto the whole designing process and so on and so forth come September, early September is what I'll say. Do you have any set scale for weekly ppm or EC? Yes, I do, Josh. Actually, it's in my book, which I'll bust out right now. You guys familiar with this one or what? There's a section here for ppm. I don't have EC in here. That's definitely going to be included in the next revision. I'll add like a scale for EC, but we flip to the ppm section, which is on page 68 of the book. General recommendation. So some people are going a little bit higher than what's here. Some people are going a lower. So after sprout weeks, the seedling stage, week 1 vegetation, some people call it 100 to 250 ppm at a 500, we're talking 500 scale ppm meter. Vegetation stage, weeks 2 to 3, 300 to 400 ppm. Vegetation weeks 4 and beyond, typically aim for like 400 to 50 to 700 ppm. Now, if you're growing in a larger container, larger plant, certainly you can go higher than this, right? So these are just general recommendations, assuming that you're growing like small to medium-sized plants. If you're growing larger plants, you can definitely get away with going higher. Flower stages 1 to 4, 750 to 950 ppm. Flower stage is 5 and beyond, 1,000 to 1,600 ppm. And then in here, actually, one thing that a lot of people used to do, they don't do it much anymore, is like reduce the ppm as much as possible as you're getting close to harvest. So it says here 2 weeks prior to harvest, less than 100 ppm. So this is just if you are a flusher, if you like to flush, if you want to go by that method. Some people will flush their plant towards the end of the grow to try to reduce the ppm as much as possible. They swear it brings better terpenes and cannabinoids and better taste and all that stuff, but do that at your own risk. I feel like these days it's kind of an outdated technique that not a lot of people are doing. That is something I definitely want to clarify in the next revision on my book. What has been your favorite cultivar to grow? Have you come across any finicky ones? Yeah, I feel like I've answered this question in a past episode, so I won't get too deep on it, but Queen Anne's Revenge by TGA Genetics, formerly TGA Genetics, went to Subcool Seeds. I think Miss Jill took over Queen Anne's Revenge. That's definitely been one of the favorite plants I've ever grown. Beautiful plant. I had magnesium deficiency to begin. It was real slight, easy to fix. Once I fixed the magnesium deficiency, which I believe was late veg, early flower, plant was healthy throughout the rest of the grow. I feel like it was a real easy feeder. Dense buds, top to bottom. There was basically towards the end when it's ready for harvest, it changed colors, covered in trichomes. As far as effects, real narcotic effect, chill effect. I'd say entirely couch lock side of things, but it's definitely narcotic effect. That's the first thing I think of when it comes to the actual effects. But yeah, that's been my favorite. As far as finicky, man, sour diesel. Oh, historically, you ask people who have grown the true sour diesel, and they'll tell you it's a challenge. It can be a challenge to grow that one. Mine was very finicky, very sensitive to nutrients. It did not come out good at all. I didn't even get a good harvest from it, you know what I mean? So yeah, like I mentioned, every time I talk about sour diesel and kind of its difficulty, or the difficulty that I've had, you definitely get a handful of people that are like, yep, absolutely, that's how she is. It's not easy. So, but it can be fun, it can be a fun challenge. What happened to Mr. Canuck? Heard someone was trying to steal his channel from him by registering a business with the Mr. Canuck title. I don't know what happened to him. Yeah, he hasn't been posting as much lately anymore. He's got some fantastic videos for those of you guys that don't know who Mr. Canuck is. I mean, just search for him on YouTube. Just amazing cinematography, and he's coming up close to 1 million subscribers. He might be the first one to actually reach 1 million subscribers in the community that has that plant that we all know and love. But I don't know what happened to him. Yeah, I actually I found that out. Trademark search. If you do a trademark search for Mr. Canuck's Grow, you'll see that it's not him that owns it, and so somebody did it. I don't know if there's been anything beyond that as far as people like threatening him or trying to steal his channel from him because of that. But yeah, maybe he'll come back and start making some more videos soon. I really enjoy his videos, really enjoy his content. I've known him for many, many years. I mean, we've been in contact since I think 2016, if I remember correctly. And man, he has just grown more and more. He's gotten better and better when it comes to his filming, editing. And just when you think somebody can't get better at that, you see him and he does. So I miss him. Hope he comes back soon. Ever ran 18.6 last 10 days of flower? Not that in particular, but I have tried out the 24.0, so non-stop light, for the last 48 hours of the grow. I don't readily have access to testing here, so I'm not able to kind of test the cannabinoid profile, terpene profile, so on and so forth of the two differences and kind of report back what the change was that was there. But yeah, so just kind of looking to see if there was a difference. I didn't really see much, if anything. So, and I haven't done the 18.6 for the last 10 days, like you mentioned there. Have you done it? Let me know. Let me know what your results were. Is nicotine poisoning a real thing? You mean like tobacco mosaic virus? Because that's certainly a real thing. Nicotine poisoning on the plant? Are you talking about like on humans? Yeah, tobacco mosaic virus. I think that might be what you're referring to. Yeah, just Google that and you can find out more about it. Is there any pests that I shouldn't be worried about, or are all pests bad? I would say there's pests that are easier to manage than others. One of the ones that come to my mind right off the bat is fungus gnats. It's something I've battled on and off, but I feel like I am able to easily get rid of and kill off the population as needed. You know, you just gotta have the practice and know what to do. Several of the pests are like really bad. I mean, there's some pests where like you just can't recover from it. I mean, we could sit here for the next hour and go through pests. I highly recommend a podcast episode, Garden Talk with Matthew Gates. I don't remember what episode it is. Just Google it. Well, actually search on YouTube, Garden Talk, Matthew Gates. And great episode where we talk about, is it the top 10 pests and how to battle them? Really, really good episode. That guy has so much knowledge in regards to it. But yeah, if you come across fungus gnats, I wouldn't be too worried about it. Not sure what stage, what level you are, how long you've been growing for. I know some people see fungus gnats and they just start panicking, you know, and they think everything's over and they got to wipe everything out. That's just not the case. As long as you stay on top of it, you should be able to get rid of them pretty easily. And the way I like to do it, there's so many different ways to go about it. Well, first of all, yellow stickies to identify. It's not going to kill off the populations, but you can at least identify and trap and kill some of the ones that are active. So yellow stickies in every single pot is what I do. I like using the Mammoth Control, which is their IPM product that they have, and that one I love using that thing to knock down populations, and also as a preventative as well. That's been one of the strongest things I've used. Also, Dr. Zymes is another fantastic product that has helped out tremendously for both preventing and for knocking back some populations on some of those pests. So off the top of my head, those are the two main products that I can kind of recommend and vouch for that I've used and work well. But yeah, kind of going back to your question, fungus gnats, if you do come across those, I wouldn't be overly worried about them. Also, mosquito bits is another main one that people use. That kind of helps with the larva. It's basically beneficial bacteria that helps knock back the larva population. So look into that as well. And then diatomaceous earth is something that is used by so many people. It's just having that in at the top layer of the soil. It's pretty much like glass shards for those pests. And there is some controversy behind diatomaceous earth, and I'm not really too ready to speak about it, but there is somebody who is concerned about their effectiveness. And there isn't really studies on diatomaceous earth to knock down fungus gnat population in particular. So I won't get too deep into that one. Maybe I'll invite Matthew Gates on to speak about that. But I've been using it anyways. I have some, so why not use it? Doesn't do harm. It's really silica is what that is. Have you switched from earth dust to Kiss Organics for re-amending soil? Yes, so I stopped using earth dust. Unfortunately, Green Sunshine Company is no longer up and running. You know, unfortunately, that business closed down. Yeah, it's sad to see them go. You know, very small company. I knew Dan personally. He was actually on my podcast. We did several videos together. He had the Electric Sky ES180 and ES300, very, very popular. I used them for many, many years. And then the Earth Dust Amendment. So unfortunately, they're no longer, Earth Dust is no longer being made. I actually reached out to him and asked him about the manufacturing of Earth Dust, and I tried to bring it back, and doesn't look like it's feasible. It doesn't look like it's worth it to bring it back is what I should say. So yeah, I've been using Kiss Organics. I used Build a Soil Craft Blend for several years. Now I just coming up on completing a grow using Kiss Organics Nutrient Pack. For those that don't know, it's a blend of organic amendments and just top dressing. You know, I did the initial amending of the soil to begin, then top dressing every 30 days. Plants looked fantastic throughout the entire grow. And yeah, just harvested 2 plants. I talked about it a little bit earlier on the stream here. And I've got them in the control right now, drying.